Hey everyone, Kerry Waldy here, and let's talk about building programs and building processes. After we had the honor of hosting our night at Refresh for the new Assemblies of God and Michigan Ministry Network, I had a lot of people asking us questions about the building program and the building process, and I'm going to do a series of videos, more videos. I did some earlier in the year, but I want to go a little more in depth based on a lot of questions that I received at Refresh. The first question really you have to ask yourself is, why do we want to build? Why do we want to build? For us, in 2008, we really started thinking about this. So it's been a long-term process for us. And we had property and we started to dream and what would this look like? But really about 2015, we had to take an earnest look at it. And a lot of it was just where we were at as a church, and then the internal processes and the shaping of my character and my mindset had to be molded by the Lord, I think, during that season. And I had to ask a couple of questions. First, I'm not really a building person. I don't build buildings, and I'm not a carpenter. I'm fascinated by it, and I really appreciate people who have those skills. But it just wasn't my thing. I had other things and other passions that I was interested in. And so I had to come to the conclusion that buildings matter. I had to come to that conclusion. And the Lord set me on a journey of learning about architecture and about beauty and about the power of worshipful space and how important that is. And this understanding that in the Western world especially, that people go to buildings to do things that are designed for those buildings. People go to the grocery store to buy groceries, or they'll go to the courthouse for legal issues, and they'll go to church to look for God. And beauty and architecture and worshipful space help people in that process. But buildings matter. And I had to come to that conclusion. I've preached all over the world. I've preached in straw huts in Africa and on the streets of a lot of different cities around the world. And I know that the church is not the building, but it's a part of the process that help people come to God. And so I had to come to that conclusion that buildings matter. I know we can do church anywhere, in storefronts and in houses and all kinds of stuff, but people, when they attend church or when they're looking for God, will often walk into a church because that's what church is for. And so I had to flip that switch in my brain to know that buildings matter, infrastructure also matters. And that's the second thing. Is that we were at a place where the infrastructure was hindering the work of God. And I had to learn church growth plateaus. They're church growth experts that have done a lot of research in how churches have life cycles and they have certain plateaus. And I had to learn. So I did a deep dive on those studies about how there are certain things that will keep a church at a plateau. And we were at a plateau. And buildings are not the only thing that will keep a church at a plateau, but it's one of the things. The infrastructure can constrict the growth of a church. The first thing I had to deal with is that the leader is often the one that is constricting the growth. And that's another video. I never want to be the lid of my organization. So I always had a personal growth plan in place every year. And one year as I went to prayer asking the Lord, how can I grow this year? And he said, at least I felt this impression that he wanted me to build the building. And that if I didn't build the building, someone else would come in and do it. Because it was the building that was hindering our growth. We checked all the other boxes off. I mean, you could look at different things that hinder church growth and cause plateaus. And we checked all those things. Okay, we're taking care of that one, check. Taking care of this one, check. But then, pretty soon, it was our infrastructure. You see, I like to think that a mature believer could walk into any space and worship the Lord and honor people and love people. But we're not trying to reach mature Christians. We're trying to reach people to where the overcrowding in the nursery matters and parking matters and the aesthetics matter. Those are the people that we're trying to reach. They're not mature believers. And so we got to the place where I checked all those easy boxes, but the tough one for me was that building program. We needed to increase capacity for the harvest. We need to increase the capacity to bring hope to people. And that verse across the front of our foyer, in this place I will grant peace, declares the Lord. Why build? To increase your capacity. It was the last thing we needed to do And it's been a blessing for us to see that we can reach and serve people better because we have the infrastructure here. Infrastructure that will last, Lord willing, as long as He tarries. All right, those are the two big reasons for me. I had to know that I was called to it because during the difficulties that I'll share in other videos and the challenges that we face, I needed to know that I was following Jesus in this call. And that during those seasons of difficulty, I had to know that if He called me to it, He'll bring me through it. All right, I love you guys. Godspeed.